Hello, welcome back to my next lesson in Vedic astrology. This video is about Amitabh Bachchan, the superstar, an actor who has become a legend in his own lifetime. This is the horoscope of Amitabh Bachchan. The ascendant is Aquarius, Kumbha Lagna. In the classical textbook Brihad Jataka by Sri Varamira, he has said that Kumbha Lagna is unique because this is the only Lagna where the Lagna Lord is also the Lord of the 12th house of loss. Because of this, a person born in Kumbha Lagna usually has to go through the ups and also the downs. Not the regular ups and downs that one sees in life, but this is quite different from that. Saturn rules this sign, the first house, and also, of course, the 12th house, but Saturn will give more auspicious results for this ascendant, mainly because this is Saturn's Mulatrikona house, and therefore is more auspicious. And Maharishi Parashara in Brihad Horashastra, in Brihad Parashara Horashastra, has very clearly stated that Saturn is a benefic, and this benefic is is occupying the fourth house. This is very nice because from here Saturn looks at the 10th house and also the first house. For an actor, the first house is very important because the first house is about physic. So here Saturn becomes the lord of the physic. And moreover, Saturn occupies the sign of Venus, and Venus is the Yoga Karaka, the best of planets for all the Kumbha Lagna people. So Saturn is auspiciously placed. Little wonder that when Saturn Dasha started, his career also simultaneously started. That was around 1971. The next important point is that the fifth house is the house of cinema, and the lord of the fifth house, which is Mercury, which owns this house, the fifth house, is in the eighth house. Even beginners in astrology know that if the planet ruling a trinal house goes to the 6th, 8th, and 12th house, the strength of the horoscope comes down. But in this case, it's not very bad because Mercury is in own sign, in its Mulatrikona, and also exalted. So Mercury is quite happy being here. There is also this Viparita Raja Yoga, which most classical textbooks say that if the 8th house lord is in the 8th house, then it is very good, like a negative into negative makes positive. For all of you who know Jaimini Sutra, I'd like to remind you that this Mercury is also the Amatya Karaka, something that is connected to profession. Is that all? No, there are a lot more combinations. Let's discuss that. Mars, the lord of the 10th house and also the lord of the third house of courage and profession. This planet is also here in the 8th. So whenever Amitabh Bachchan had his downfall, this planet did contribute to that. But the success came because the 10th lord has joined Mercury, the 5th lord. 99% of all the actors in the world, or at least the successful ones, will surely have the 5th and the 10th house or the 11th house somehow connected to each other. So it is an interplay between the 5th, 10th, and the 11th. So here you find the planet owning the house of cinema is with the planet owning the house of profession, and it has come to the 8th house. And the 8th house is not all that bad because it is about sudden gain in wealth, like lottery, which is possible always in the world of cinema. 8th house is also related to battles, and Amitabh Bachchan had to go through many battles in his life. I'm sure it is still not over, especially because of his health problems, because of the losses that he had in through politics or in his own when he was also running a business. Why have we left out the sun? Because the sun is not involved with this topic, at least the cinema, but the sun has its role to play here because the sun has affected his health. And those of you who have been following my earlier videos, Bhrigu Sutra, where I've done the sun in various houses, can go back to that video and see what I have said for the sun being in the 8th house, especially in relation to health. So that's a separate point. So here, Mars, Mercury, and Venus have come together. This is the yoga. And this group, this entire three-member group, Mars, Mercury, and Venus, are in a trine from the Lagna Lord. Then the other point is that the 11th Lord, which is Jupiter, which owns this house, should have actually been in the 5th, but it appears to be in the 6th sign. But if you use the correct time of birth for Amitabh Bachchan, and then if you check his Bhava chart, actually Jupiter is in the 5th Bhava. So this is the Rashi chart, so I'm placing it back here. But in reality, Jupiter is in the 5th house, which also fulfills the main condition for a successful actor, because the 11th Lord of gain or fulfillment of desire, one's desire, is sitting in the house of cinema or entertainment. Actually, Jupiter is exalted, and the exalted 11th Lord is sitting in the 5th house in the Bhava chart. This is wonderful to have. So it looks like Amitabh Bachchan had the best of combinations as far as cinema goes. But if you want to do a research on other topics, for example, the accident while filming the movie Coolie, which also became a box office hit later on, it happened in Saturn moon, because you can see from here the moon is placed in the 6th from Saturn, and the moon is also the lord of the 6th house, and the moon occupies the nakshatra of Rahu, which is Swati, and that Rahu is sitting in the 7th house of accidents, of near death-like situations. And Amitabh Bachchan has, whenever is reminded of this accident, he always says that this is my second life. So you find that within Saturn, bad things can also happen. That's because Saturn also is the lord of the 12th house, the house of hospitalization. So when a planet has two sides to play, then depending upon the Antardasha, it will change its role. So here in the Antardasha of moon, Saturn takes on the color of this 12th house, and he was in the hospital for a long time. Though there was a quick recovery thanks to the long life combinations that he have, especially because the 8th Lord is in the 8th house and the Lagnadhipati is in the 4th house. All these are all plus points for him. There are many combinations for long life in this chart. So that's the reason why he actually survived. But if you look at the Dasha, when Saturn Dasha started in 1971, his career also started with the movie Anand, and then it went on to other box office hits. But 1971 was his turning point. And interestingly, in Saturn Rahu period, the notorious Saturn Rahu period, Rahu is occupying the 7th house. Rahu in the 7th always makes a person an extrovert, works very well for an actor. But in Saturn Dasha, Rahu Bhukti becomes dangerous because Rahu is in the 7th house. It's a Marakasthana. And during this time, as stated in BPHS, which is Brihat Parashara Horoshastra, Saturn Rahu is usually bad for all people. And it worked for him because it was during this time he entered politics. He was really upset with whatever he did in politics. Another reason for a bad experience in politics is because one of the main planets connecting to politics, which is the Sun, happens to be in the 8th house. Why did he lose in business? The reason for that is whenever the 6th Lord is in the 9th house, it's not safe to do business because this is the house of luck, Bhagya, and somehow the debts which is connecting to the 6th house should not be connected to the house of Bhagya. And this is one way of looking at it. And another way is, if you look at the Sarvashtaka Varga of Amitabh Bachchan, you find an extraordinary high score here. He has 42 points in this place of Karkadaga, or the 6th house. It's extraordinary. That's an extraordinary score, and more the score, more is the possibility for getting into debts and financial losses. But in any case, Maharishi Parashara has very clearly stated that if the 6th Lord is in the 9th house, then there will be fluctuating fortunes. there was another box office hit within Saturn Dasha and Jupiter Bhukti or Jupiter Antardasha. Because Jupiter is the lord of the 11th house, it is exalted, and in the Bhava he is placed in the 5th house. And then again it all came down because of the basic nature of the chart, the ups and downs. And then he went through a lot of trouble in the earlier portions of Mercury Mahadasha, and that's because Mercury is also to do the other side, which is the 8th house placement. This also proves the point that Maharshi Parashara is right by not declaring Mercury as a functional benefic for Aquarius Lagna. During the second half of Mercury Mahadasha, he made a big comeback with the Kaun Banega Crorepati program, TV program, the Indian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And this was a huge hit. Most people agreed that Amitabh Bachchan's comeback started with Kaun Banega Crorepati, and then of course he had a few more good films. So you find that this person has been this person had to go through lots of ups and downs because of the group of planets in the 8th house, and also because he was born in Aquarius ascendant. Let me use this opportunity to give you a sample of what it means to do birth time rectification. If you browse the internet and search for the horoscopes of Amitabh Bachchan, you will find that there are various versions, many versions, starting anywhere from his birth time being 3:30 p.m. to 4:10. So what is his real time of birth? I'm not going to do the exact birth time rectification, but at least let me start with 3:42 p.m. and this is the Rashi chart and the Bhava chart. Of course, the Rashi chart doesn't change because the Lagna is at 15 degrees 32 minutes. It's right in the middle of the sign. 1 hour ahead or 1 hour behind, you'll still find it is Aquarius ascendant. But there are finer points. At 3:42, please have a look at the Bhava chart. You will find Jupiter in the 5th Bhava as is seen in the Rashi chart also. But using this feature here on Jagannath Hora, please look at this point. There is the option that you can increment the time by seconds, 15 seconds, minute, hour, day, month and year. You choose minute and then press the increment button. Now it's 43. 3:43 p.m. Jupiter has moved into the 5th house. Wow. Now this is a nice position for any actor, because if the 11th lord sits in the 5th house, it's really wonderful. For example, Rajinikanth, another superstar from South, you find that in his chart, the lord of the 11th occupies the 5th house. Here's just the other way around, 11th lord is in the 5th. But once you get this condition, how much can you push forward? And what is the basis for that? Now, if you look at the time when the accident happened, it was the moon's period. We have enough evidence on why moon has done that, but we want more points, and let's look elsewhere. If you right click on this section and just look at the options here and click Lord of the 64th Navamsa, the first one you find is the Lord of the 64th Navamsa is Venus here. So as you increment the time of birth, let's see what all happens to the situations here. So now I'm incrementing by a minute. Now it is 3:44, 3:45, 3:46. You can see that the 64th Navamsa is Mercury. And as I keep incrementing minute by minute, now it is 3:49 and it is 3:50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. No change. Everything holds good. None of the planets have shifted in the Bhava chart except Jupiter, which has already shifted a long time back, and everybody stays put. They don't move. Now this is 3:55 p.m. and now let me increment by 1 minute, 3:56. So as soon as I click 3:56, I find that the 64th Navamsa is the moon. And so he must have been born after 3:56 p.m. So some of the websites which say that he is born at 4 o'clock seems to be perfect, because you have the dangerous 64th Navamsa Lord being the moon and the near fatal accident while he was filming Coolie happened during Saturn moon period. And interestingly, in Brihat Parashara Horashastra, volume 2, where he deals with Saturn and moon period, he says that the person will be given medicines instead of food and clearly indicates hospitalization, danger to life, etc. Now, have a look at the Sarvashtaka Varga, 42 points in the 6th house. The 6th house deals with disease, deaths, and enemies. He had a share of all these things because while he was in hospital, he received blood from various people. One of the donors had hepatitis B and he was infected on that day by this virus. And apart from this, he has not fully recovered from the accident. Always there is some problem around the abdomen. We have come to the end of this video. In case you have any doubts, please type them out in the comment section. And whenever I find the time, I'll answer them for you. And see you soon in my next video.